We are here in Kolwezi in the Democratic Republic of the Congo to better understand raw material extraction.
Cobalt is so heavily incorporated into products that we use on a daily basis. Things like EV batteries. It's in your laptop, in your phone, super alloys, magnets, med devices. There was an equivalent of a football field's length of just hole after hole.
Dangerous work, unsafe, illegal, where children are abused and used. The DRC has motivated genuine concern by business people who want to invest responsibly.
If you want a degree of comfort, the area that is producing the cobalt that you are buying is such that it is being done responsibly. You will need to have visibility to understand the rest of that supply chain.
Assent is going beyond just providing a platform, going to these local communities to truly gain visibility into the impact of sustainability topics. We're going to capture and really humanize these particular areas and situations. We're putting real stories to the data you're collecting.
Richard, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for being here. So as you know, I traveled to the DRC in late 2022 to really help support Assent and the power of storytelling. I really want to start with what was it like growing up in the DRC?
I was born in the mining area, the Katanga region. One thing that hit home from early on was the value of these mineral assets didn't translate into benefits for the general population. The mining sector became a clear nationalized resource for extracting a lot of the revenue of the state, but there were problems of poor governance and mismanagement that led to the National Copper Company being run into the ground. In 2002, the mining code of the Congo was revised, but in the weak governance and the post-war period, artisanal mining became a go-to area for people without any cash income, but also an area where illicit interests could finance the purchase of minerals. Industrial mining refers to standard mechanized industrial approaches to the drilling to verify what's in the ground so that you can look at the entire ore body. With artisanal mining done with rudimentary hand mechanisms, they can see where the ore body is rich and they dig in that area. There are 3 or 4 million Congolese every day who earn some kind of wage by working in the artisanal sector. 20 to 30% of the DRC's population relies on artisanal mining. The artisanal sector is a way for a middle class to develop. Before you create a middle class, you need to create a well-paid working class. We're trying to formalize a part of the mining sector. The Congolese themselves, the Congolese government, and Congolese economic actors want the same things that international downstream users need. Clean minerals, know where it comes from, know the chain of traceability so we can conduct due diligence as needed. It's not a yes or no, it's how do we make improvements? And that's the benefit of the due diligence approach in responsible mining.
I think in the case of Assent, you have the advantage of having been on the ground and seeing what's happening. Assent has a great advantage there to be able to leverage that information. You're measuring performance, you're measuring metrics, you're measuring data, understanding what happens along each phase of the supply chain.
So I think the first thing that you want to do as a company is make sure you have a solid ESG platform in place. Are your suppliers ethical suppliers? Are they going to avoid bribery and corruption when they're out there representing you in the market? Focusing on something like supply chains is going to require multi-stakeholder input because you have to cover all these different areas when you're trying to build. Yeah. The second thing you want to do is reconfirm information from your supply chain. As you gather this data, you want to make sure that it's reviewed periodically and consistently, and you also want to consider things like independent audits.
Ethics needs to pervade all levels in the supply chain. The storytelling is not so much about an event that ends up in a report, it's about an ongoing process to identify a problem, alternative solutions, and continuous improvement. Intermediaries such as Assent convey to companies, you will be ahead of others because you will have figured out not the ultimate solution, but the next step. Success is that all stakeholders in the supply chain perceive things to be improving and moving in the right direction.